Welcome to IELTS 16 Test 1 Passage 1, Why We Need to Protect Polar Bears. This passage has 13 questions. The first 7 are true-false not given, and the last 6 are table completion. The T/F/NG questions are divided into 2 types, synonym replacement and logic comparison. All table completion questions are keyword location. Understanding these types helps you find answers faster. Synonym replacement tests vocabulary, logic comparison tests understanding. The article has 8 paragraphs. It is a typical scientific exposition. We will divide it into 3 parts. Part 1 is from passage 1 to 3. It talks about polar bear fat and genetic research. Part 2 is from passage 4 to 5. It talks about polar bear bones and intelligence. Part 3 is from passage 6 to 8. It talks about polar bear behavior and emotions. T/F/NG questions Q1 Q7 are mainly in the first 4 paragraphs. Table completion Q8 Q13 are in the last 4 paragraphs. Let's look at question 1. The statement says, polar bears suffer from various health problems because of fat under their skin. Key clue words are, health problems and fat. Locate paragraph 1. The scanning landmark word is, adipose tissue. The passage says, humans with similar fat levels would have health problems, but polar bears experience no such consequences. The original phrase is experiences no such consequences. The question says polar bears have health problems, but the passage says they have no such consequences. This is a direct contradiction, a type of antonym replacement. So the answer to question 1 is false. Let's look at question 2. The study by Liu and his colleagues compared different groups of polar bears. The key clue is compared different groups of polar bears. Locate paragraph 2. The scanning landmark in the text is brown bears. The original text says compared the genetic structure of polar bears with that of brown bears. The question says comparing different groups of polar bears, but the text compares polar bears with brown bears. This is a subject switch, and they contradict each other. So the answer to question 2 is false. Let's look at question 3. Liu and colleagues were the first researchers to compare polar bears and brown bears genetically. The key clue word is first researchers. Locate paragraph 2 and look for descriptions of Liu's study. The original text says, a 2014 study by Shiping Liu and colleagues sheds light on this mystery. The statement says first, but the text only mentions a study without saying it was the first. This is an unsupported claim, not a contradiction. So the answer to question 3 is not given. Let's look at question 4. Polar bears can control their bad cholesterol levels by genetic means. Key clue words, genetic means, control bad cholesterol. Locate paragraph 2. The scanning landmark word is the ApoB gene. The original text says, polar bears had a gene called ApoB, which reduces bad cholesterol levels. The statement says, control by genetic means, and the text says, had a gene, which reduces. This is a clear synonym replacement. So the answer to question 4 is true. Let's look at question 5. The statement says female polar bears can survive for about 6 months without food. The key clue words are 6 months and without food. Locate paragraph 3 and look for expressions related to fasting. The original text uses about 6 months of fasting, which directly matches the statement. The statements without food is a synonym for the text's fasting, a clear example of synonym replacement. So the answer to question 5 is true. Let's look at question 6. The study found that female polar bears had very weak bones when they came out of their dens in spring. The key clue words are very weak bones and when they came out of their dens in spring. Locate paragraph 4. The scanning landmark words are emerged from the den and bone density. The original text says there was no evidence of significant loss of bone density, meaning the bones were not weak. The question says bones were very weak, but the passage says no loss of bone density. These directly contradict each other. This is an antonym replacement. So the answer to question 6 is false. Let's look at question 7. the polar bear's mechanism for increasing bone density could also be used by people one day. Key clue words in the statement: mechanism, increasing bone density, used by people. Locate paragraph 4. Scanning landmark words: Lennox and Goodship 2008, bedridden humans, astronauts. The original text says, many bedridden humans, and even astronauts, could potentially benefit. The statement says used by people, the text says humans could potentially benefit. This is a typical synonym replacement. The meaning is the same. So the answer to question 7 is true. Next is the note completion for Q8-13. One-word limit, mostly extracted directly from the text. Let's look at question 8. The table asks for an adjective that goes together with stupid to describe how people see bears. The clue word is stupid. The blank needs an adjective that is in the same list, so it must have the same part of speech. Let's go to paragraph 5 and find the sentence that describes bears. The original text says bears seem to be perceived as stupid and in many cases violent. The answer violent is directly given in the text. So the answer to question 8 is violent. Let's look at question 9. What is the branch used as? Notice the blank is after as a, so we need a noun. The clue words are using a branch. The blank is after as a, so we need the name of a tool. Let's go to paragraph 5 and look for using a branch or tool. The original text says using a tool. The word tool is the answer. It is directly given in the text, so no replacement is needed. So the answer to question 9 is tool. Let's look at question 10. It asks what Gogo used the branch to dislodge. The blank comes after a piece of, so the answer should be a singular countable noun or an uncountable noun. Go to paragraph 5 and look for words related to dislodge. The original text says dislodge a piece of meat. Meat is directly given here. So the answer to question 10 is meat. Let's look at question 11. It asks who the person on the platform is. The word before the blank tells us we need a singular countable noun. Let's go to paragraph 5 and look for the word platform. The original text says a photographer standing on a platform. The answer word is directly given here. So the answer to question 11 is photographer. Let's look at question 12. It asks what the bear's activity was similar to. The blank is preceded by the article a, so the answer must be a singular countable noun. Locate paragraph 6 and find the sentence describing the bear's activity. The original text says bears put objects in piles and knocked them over, which appeared to be a game. The answer game is directly given in the text. So the answer to question 12 is game. Let's look at question 13. It asks what emotion is suggested when bears hit ice and snow after missing a kill. The blank comes after suggesting, so we need a noun that describes an emotion. Let's go to paragraph 7 and look for a word that describes the bear's emotion when hitting ice and snow. The original text directly says seemingly out of frustration, so frustration is the answer word. So the answer to question 13 is frustration. Now we move to the trick summary. This will help you find common traps in IELTS reading. Trick 1, opposite meaning. The question says the opposite of the text. For example, Q1 and Q6. The question says very weak, but the text says very strong. They are opposite. Trick 2, wrong subject. The question talks about A, but the text talks about B. For example, Q2. The question says different groups of polar bears, but the text compares polar bears and brown bears. Trick 3, extra information. The question adds something not in the text. For example, Q3. The question says the first researchers, but the text never mentions first. Remember, be very careful with absolute words like first, only, or always. Now let's review the important vocabulary pairs from this passage. Q4, by genetic means in the question means had a gene known as ApoB in the text. Q5, without food in the question means fasting in the text. Q7, used by people one day in the question means could potentially benefit in the text. Keywords for the completion questions: violent, tool, meet, photographer, game, frustration. This is the end of the intensive reading for Test 2 Passage 1. I hope it was helpful for you.